Hello, colleagues and students. I'm Patrick Lau, the professor from the Department of Sport, PE and Health, Hong Kong Baptist University. Today, I'm going to share one of my Olympic studies. The title is, How Can the United Kingdom's Elite Sport Success Inspire Elite Sport Policy in Hong Kong? The cases of cycling, swimming, and Taekwondo. Elite sport policy has been a global sporting arms race. When you look at the Olympic Games, it is the most influential international sport events already. It has significant impacts on political, economic, social, and diplomatic domains, including the international image, national pride and identity, to motives such as increasing sports participation, public health, and social cohesion. And it also demonstrates different ideology and its superiority. That's why we always say elite sport success is an irresistible priority in many countries. Despite Hong Kong has been developed the elite sport for a while, but when we look at the year 2000 or before, this is very evident that Hong Kong has not pushed this as the top priority until we establish the Sports Commission and its affiliate elite sports committee. Increased government subvention to Hong Kong SI for elite training has increased from 105 million in 2006 to 664 million in 2019. So this is about almost 6 times increase. But unfortunately, we didn't see the Olympic medal success yet, except the 1996 Atlanta Olympic first gold medal for Hong Kong from Miss Lei Lai San in windsurfing. When we compare with the historical performance and the traditional rival nations in Asia, such as Singapore, Thailand, Vietnam, there has become a better success in recent Olympic medal winning. So Hong Kong is lag behind in elite sport development. More importantly, we have to ask the funding efficiency and funding effectiveness. Are we doing good enough in Hong Kong? These questions frame the present study, which aims to comprehensively evaluate elite sport policy in Hong Kong for the first time. And more importantly, we would like to employ theories to improve its policymaking and implementation, such as policy learning and policy transfer and policy implementations. And we will refer to the success of UK, one of the very successful nations in Olympic Games. UK is selected because its great success at the 2012 and 2016 Summer Olympic Games. Let's look at the table 1. When we look at Atlanta 1996, it was the bottom of the UK Olympic Games performance. So it's a big drop in 1996 Atlanta Games. After 1996, UK government recognized they have to push and change if they want to have a better development in Olympic Games. So after 1996, from 97 to 2005, they have done a lot of major changes in the sport organization and policies. And then when we see from Athens 2004, Beijing 2008, and a peak, go to London 2012, it seems they are heading for very success rate, and also witness the success of the policy changes and support. But even that, one more surprise and yet important for the world's lesson is the Rio Olympics in 2016. They got 27 gold medals and actually took over China as the second place in the medal winning table. So the lessons performed and demonstrated by UK since 1997, the changes has made until the last Olympic in Rio. It demonstrates a very good lesson for other worlds, regions, cities to learn from them. This study will base on the policies transfer and the policy implementation as the theoretical foundation to start the analysis. Policy transfer refers to the process in which knowledge about policies, administrative arrangement, institutions, and ideas in one political setting, usually in one region or one country, and then we'll see if it can be transferred to another countries or cities. Policy implementation covers 10 conditions for perfect policy implementations measures deployed to identify the successful experience of policy implementation in these 3 sports we choose from UK. They are cycling, swimming, and Taekwondo. And through this, we'll see if we can pick up and identify certain successful policy implementation measures. Of course, when we say this is perfect, it isn't ideal. In the reality, we never have the perfect 10 implementation measures. So the good thing is we use both theories. They are policy transfer and policy implementation to see how can we start the analysis to identify what we can learn from the UK lessons. Table 2 demonstrates 10 perfect implementations. Again, I would like to remind all of you that these 10 implementations are an ideal. It will never exist in the real world. But we'll see how the UK make it happen and what kind of things Hong Kong may miss. The significance of study, of course, the first one is this research is underpinned by prominent public policy theories. It means we based on policy foundations, theories to analyze the current situation between Hong Kong and UK. Secondly, this research trying to introduce and analyze the elite sport policy from UK and see, can we learn something from UK? So it will be the first review and exploration of elite sport policy. And it covers both English and Chinese documents. The present study aims to comprehensively evaluate sport policy in Hong Kong for the first time. And more importantly, we are trying to improve its policy making and implementation by incorporating the policy learning and transfer from UK. Objective of the study. There are 3 objectives of the present study. The first one is to review and evaluate the elite sport policy effectiveness and the status quo of elite sport development in Hong Kong from the perspective of both policy making and policy implementation. We aim for the 3 cases, cycling, swimming, and Taekwondo. And then we will try to extract the successful experience in policy making and implementation in these 3 sports in the UK and consider if it can be transferred from UK to Hong Kong. Finally, we would like to provide some recommendations of the related parties, including government, NSAs, and the 3 cases, 3 sport associations in Hong Kong. Of course, we hope we can, based on these recommendations, to enhance the financial efficiency and effectiveness in elite sport development in Hong Kong. The research method actually applies a comparative case study to investigate the successful nations' pathways to elite sport policy and development. In this research, cycling, swimming, and Taekwondo are selected. The reasons are all these 3 selected sports are very successful in UK context. And again, In Hong Kong, they are also very successful. They are under the focus scheme of Hong Kong SI, especially cycling has been very, very successful in terms of medal winning internationally. And swimming is also very important and very successful among the focus sports. Regarding Taekwondo, this is an emerging sport, a new source for Hong Kong to target for Olympic medal breakthrough. So altogether, the cycling, swimming, and Taekwondo are successful elite sport in UK and in Hong Kong. And there's another implication that cycling, swimming, and Taekwondo are representing 3 levels, A+, A, and B levels under the focus sport support scheme in Hong Kong SI. So under these 3 levels, we'll see what can we do to enhance the effectiveness and the efficiency of the funding and policy making to enhance the performance of these 3 sports. Document analysis covers all the Hong Kong government records, including the CE report, the government reports, LCSD, HAB, Sports Commission and Elite Sports Committee, Sports Federation and Olympic Committee, Cycling Association of Hong Kong, Swimming Association, Taekwondo Association. Media cover all the printed and electronic sources in Hong Kong, both in Chinese and English. Academic publications are covered. They include Brian Bridges, Glossall, Jim Ming Chen, and myself. So almost all the academic journal papers published by this Hong Kong local researchers are covered. Regarding the UK, again, the government documents like the sport raising the game, lottery fund strategy, sporting future for all, playing to win, creating a sport habit for life, and sporting future. All these strategic papers presented by the government since 1995 are covered. And then also the Department for Digital Culture, Media and Sport are covered. UK Sport, British Olympic Association, British Cycling, British Taekwondo, British Swimming are covered. And all the medias in BBC, Times, Telegraph, Guardian, The Sky are all covered in printed and e-sources. Again, the academic publications by Mike Green, Barry Holohan, Jonathan Grace, Ben Oakley, Simon Sibley, Ian Henry, Ian McDonald, Rich Robinson, Vissel Kirchhoff, etc. All those very famous researchers in Olympic studies are covered under this topic. The second part is the semi-structured interviews. Semi-structured interviews are carried out with key elite sport stakeholders, including the chairman, performance manager, or the equivalent positions, and selected coaches and athletes of each NSA in Hong Kong. 19 interviews were conducted in Hong Kong, including 9 from the government and general sports governing bodies, including HAB, LCSD, SFOC, Hong Kong SI, SC, and ESC. And 10 sport-specific interviews for 3 selected sports. They are cycling, Taekwondo, and swimming. All those people are covered in the interviews. 9 other interviews to the NSA coaches and athletes were declined due to different personal reasons. Due to the COVID-19, 18 interviews to UK stakeholders, including the NSA chairman, performance manager, or equivalent positions, and selected coaches and athletes were constrained. Instead, we got the support of the UK research professors from Loughborough University and University of Northumbria via email and WeChat interviews. These 2 interviews from these 2 professors have provided significant opinions and information to further understand the UK elite sport policy based on their expertise on this topic, and their input has compensated a significant gap of the study. Of course, this is a limitation that we cannot go to UK for the face-to-face interview. This is pity, and we will put this as a limitation of the current study. The data analysis, both documents and semi-structured interviews was subject to thematic analysis, and then after that we code it into different thematic categories, and we code it and trying to find out the relationship between the concepts and information. Researchers have cross-checked all those transcriptions from the interview and trying to identify any errors to maximize the trustworthiness of the data. Before we present the research findings, I would like to point out a very brief description of the British sport policy status quo. When we look at both UK and Hong Kong, British sport policy has been changed since 1990s. Actually, before 1990s, the elite sport was not emphasized as the very important national policy. Not until Sir John Mayer, he picked up the governance in 1990s, elite sport was not focused to achieve their excellence. So we will see the sport policy since 1990s under John Mayer's governance has been changed, especially in 1996, as I mentioned, in the Atlanta Olympics, USA. UK has a very significant defeat. That's why after they went back to UK, 1997, a series of changes, policy development was decided to carry it out. So they put a lot of government funding support, and they also demonstrated a very, very great medal winning desire in Summer Olympics, especially. When we look at the key actors in UK, the following are the key actors. They play very significant functions to push and excel the elite sport performance of the athletics. They are British Olympic Association, Department for Culture, Media and Sport, National Governing Body, UK Sport, the English Institute of Sport. When we look at the Hong Kong sport policy status quo, this is quite different from UK. Actually, before 1970s, we don't have a systematic sport and recreation policy and system. After 1967, the riot, in 1970, the Hong Kong government started to focus on the recreation provision to provide necessary recreation programs to the youngsters, especially to avoid those unstable social order. All right. Not until 1980s, Hong Kong started to look at a kind of elite sport. Until 1996, the first gold medal won by Miss Li San in windsurfing brought up a new dream that Hong Kong is possible. So the sport policy after 1997 has a dramatic focus. It's a big change. The policy has been focused and emphasized its value. Again, after year 2000, we have been increasing the government funding sport from about 100 million to almost 700 million Hong Kong dollars, as I mentioned in the introduction. And the medal winning desire has been increasing and increasing after the first gold medal we got in 1996. The key actors in the Hong Kong elite sport policy consist of Home Affairs Bureau, Elite Sport Committee, Hong Kong Sport Institute, Sports Federation and Olympic Committee of Hong Kong, and the National Olympic Committee. All these brief histories of both UK and Hong Kong elite sport policy development, you can get back to the original report from the PPR At the end of presentation, you will find the report. You can go to the office and ask for the original details. Regarding the findings, this is a major part of the present presentation. So the three cases, cycling, swimming, and Taekwondo, including Hong Kong and UK development, I divided into 9 perspectives according to the literature review from the documents. The 9 perspectives include organizational structure, financial support, talent identification and athletic development, coaching, training, competition opportunities, scientific research, international influence, and the bidding and hosting of international mega sport events. So the following recommendations from the review literature, from the documentary analysis, and the interviews will come under these 9 categories. So based on the policy implementation, we will see the following could be done to enhance Hong Kong's elite sport performance. The first recommendation is increasing centralization of the organization structure. Actually, under these short-term recommendations, there are 12 recommendations I make. The first one I just mentioned, increase the centralization of organizational structure. The UK restructured its sport structures in 1995 and became more centralized with the establishment and reform of DCMS, UK Sport, Sport England, national government bodies, and youth sport trusts. The aims were to provide more systematic and integrated support for the sport development and to improve relationships and reconciliations between government and national sport organizations in UK. Currently, in Hong Kong, Elite Sport Committee under Sports Commission and the remit of the ESC is limited to an advisory role. So as the most prominent government organization to develop elite sport policy, neither of them can exert significant impact. Therefore, to establish a more centralized governance bureau to draft, design, and formulate elite athletic policy should be considered in Hong Kong. The second short-term recommendation is we need a prominent ad hoc elite sport agency. When we look at UK sport has been the most salient because it acts as the primary agency, peak body to provide strategic moves to reach elite athletics medal-winning potential. Compared to Hong Kong elite sport structure, there's no similar strategic organization. A semi-governmental high-performance specific government body such as UK Sport functions and delivers direct and instrumental impact on the performance, events, governance, leadership, financial, accounting, science, medicine, and technology in elite sport. Therefore, inspired by UK Sport, the establishment of this type of strategic and influential ad hoc high-performance organization, such as UK Sport in Hong Kong, to deliver direct and strategic impact on elite sport excellence would be a valuable option. The third one is the sport policy strategy. The UK has promulgated a series of landmark sport-related policy documents, such as Sport Raising the Game in 1995, A Sporting Future for All in year 2000, Elite Sport Funding Review in year 2001, Game Plan in year 2002, and World Class Performance Program in year 2012. Elite sport policies should be addressed by government more frequently and professionally because they will enable the public and government to direct more attention to the value, utility, and importance of elite sport development in the society. Additionally, Through different sport consultancy studies, the government can gain more insights and ideas to proceed our elite sport policy and identify specific strategies to direct short and long-term development of elite sport in Hong Kong. The fourth one is winning philosophy. UK has stressed the winning philosophy through the ruthless yet efficient and effective low compromise funding approach that demonstrates result-driven methods of funding elite sports based on the number of medals and completion of medal performance targets. The coaching philosophy has changed athletes' mindset to win when they are trained to prepare for international competitions. So they set the goal very clear. Their mindset is to win the gold medals. The fifth recommendation in short term is internationalization of the coaching squad. Team Great Britain's newfound success at the Olympic Games are attributed to the employment of experienced and quality international coaches with a successful track record. When we look at the British swimming and British Taekwondo, they have recruited world-leading coaches from Australia and USA. Regarding Taekwondo, they recruit the South Korea successful coaches. Currently, Hong Kong SI has employed 10 head coaches, which is about 50% of the 20 TAA and TAA star from overseas, mainly from UK, USA, Australia, China, and local. So 10 from overseas and 5 from China mainland, 5 from local. It's not bad. In terms of the quantity, it's already ideal. If possible, a more demanding employment of foreign coaches and a relatively more objective selection criterion, including their track record in sport-specific coaching career, should be specified. The financial offer and lifestyle support, including accommodation, medical allowance, family education allowance, and traveling allowance, need to be competitive for those world-class coaches to come to Hong Kong, particularly for emerging sports such as Taekwondo. Another recommendation is rewards to coaches for the athletes' Olympic medal winning performance. According to the UK experience, UK NGBs provide cash allowance to individual coach for gold, silver, and bronze Olympic medals respectively. Additional incentives will be given when athletes trained by the coach will win multiple medals. This measure provides significant linkage between the athlete's success and the coach's reward. Consequently, motivation to win and high inspiration emerge in both athletes and coaches. The seventh short-term recommendation is the production of world-class coaches, not only to recruit them, but to invest more materialistic and human resource to produce more world-class coaches under the current situation. Progressive courses have been organized and awards have been provided to enhance local coaches' competitiveness by the British, cycling, and UK sport. For example, they have the Elite Coaching Apprenticeship Program and Regional Coaching Plan. They also have the Great Britain Talent Pathway Coaching Camps. So all these camps or programs, plans, and trying to enhance the existing coaching ability. In Hong Kong SI, there are coaching certificate programs and courses offered to contribute to the enhancement of coaches' expertise and development. But more sport-specific coaching courses will be more instrumental in producing world-class coaches and consequently pursuing desirable results in training. Another recommendation is priority and balance between training and competitions. When we refer to the British swimming development, British swimming changed its training strategy from minimal training, maximum competition to adequate training, but highest level competitions. It means that multiple dimensional and sufficient training for athletes takes precedence, and then followed by organizing athletes to target high-level competition events only. Not mid-level, but the highest level of the competitions only. The competition schedule and arrangement is very pragmatic and predominantly focused on the Olympic goals. And the elite athletes can be equipped with the best condition to compete the most important and highest sport events in the world. This strategy between training and competition can be further refined in Hong Kong because most Hong Kong NGB's competition strategy is haphazard, failing to scientifically balance competition participation, balance competition participation and training. Intensive and integrated training center is needed. British swimming established intensive training centers to provide a one-stop integrated service training for elite athletes in one location. Within this training center, competition-specific system was tailor-made to individual athletes. Also, British cycling as one of the triplies adopting a highly centralized approach, including the training center, rather than only headquartered in Manchester, because they believe resources can be functioned in a more efficient and effective way. British Taekwondo is also based in Manchester, where world-class performance program is carried out with the support from the UK Sport and National Lottery. Under this kind of one-stop service training center, intensive and integrated training centers is a prerequisite to all elite sport success. Although Hong Kong SI has been consistent in providing one-stop integrated service training for elite athletes in one location, it lacks bespoke tailoring training to each elite athlete in Hong Kong. Instead, athletes in priority sports are trained in different places and regions around the world because Hong Kong lacks integrated training centers for each sport. For example, cycling, they may go to China, and windsurfing, swimming, sometimes they need to go to overseas. In this case, it will be not ideal if we cannot have a one-stop service training for the elite athletes in Hong Kong. So if possible, it would be very ideal if integrated training centers for each sport can be established to at least supplement the existing approach. Aggregation of marginal gains. British cycling suggested that every single additional 1% of improvement, such as helmets, pedals, sleeping, jerseys, underpin their success and dominance in international cycling competitions. Reflecting on British cycling's successful rise from tragic to magic, incrementalism is recommended for a careful scrutiny in Hong Kong with respect to the applicability for various Hong Kong sports teams to gain their various extra 1% of advantage through their training and scientific support. It means that the additional extra 1% will make the big difference in winning or losing. Another recommendation is quick responses to new international sport trends. British cycling is characterized by their quick responses and proactive strategy regarding the observation, understanding, and mastery of changes and latest trends, especially from the close examination of new trends, proposals, policies from the International Olympic Committee and Union Cyclists International. For example, British cycling had upgraded BMX as a higher priority when BMX was announced to be a new Olympic sport discipline in Beijing 2008. In a similar sense, in the London 2012 Olympics, British cycling targeted the new Olympic events and increased number of women's cycling events in advance when the number of male cycling events was reduced at London 2012. The sensitivity, flexibility, and responsiveness to rapid international changes can be critical in the 21st century because external factors are diverse and unpredictable, such as the COVID-19 and international relations. To establish a contingency mechanism in Hong Kong to observe and address this new trends is imperative. Assent on sports science and the role of universities in other important recommendations. Two suggestions may be effective in advancing athletics training and performance, applying the EIS experience in British cycling. The first inspiration is the implementation approach mentioned above by conducting more sport-specific science performance research and generating objective and scientific data to identify and acquire more areas and sources of the extra 1% marginal gains for athletes. The second proposal is to intensify research collaboration between the sports science units, such as Hong Kong SI and the sport science and sport medicine faculties in Hong Kong universities. The UK represents a long and commendable tradition in relation to the involvement of leading universities in the integration of academic resources, illustrated by various British NGB's long-standing and effective partnership with Loughborough University, University of Bath, Sheffield Hallam University, Northumbria University, and University of Stirling. So these universities have been consistent in providing scientific support for various British NGBs and national squad. And this university and scholars areas of expertise range from equipment, clothing and nutrition to training methods, psychology, recovery, and rehabilitation. For example, British cycling research allows low spare body weight of the athletes based on the nutrition and clothing findings. Put a bite into the wind tunnel to investigate the aerodynamics. UK sports and British cycling have maximized the synergy between sports science research and elite sport performance. Although the sports science research in Hong Kong universities are not as advanced as the UK, it would be a good and significant point of departure if the synergy between sports science research and the elite sport performance can be deepened. After we summarize and make the 12 short-term recommendations, which can be done in a short period of time, and then we focus on the mid to long-term recommendations. There are 5 mid to long-term recommendations based on the analysis of both data. The first one is bidding to and the hosting of international mega sports events. The successful bid in 2005 to host the London 2012 Olympics act as a powerful impetus that promote the 10 Downing Street to further prioritize elite sport within the cabinet. UK government decided to more effectively prepare for the medal success on home soil, which mirrored and warrant wide-ranging sport that cover the areas organizational restructure, financial support, sports science support, coaching internationalization, talent identification, athletic training, and development system, irrespective of the ruling parties in the British government. This driving force will induce a demand for mid and long-term policy development to achieve the medal-winning outcome. A more strategic positioning and plan will be established instead of short-term goals. From a cost-effective perspective, 2 options are recommended. The first of which is to bid to and host the Youth Olympics. The second option is to co-host the Asian Games with Shenzhen and Guangzhou. Hong Kong can maximize the mega sport event impact by synergizing their sport venues, accommodations, and mega sport event management experience. The second mid to long-term recommendation is talent identification. UK Sport and other British NGBs has placed great emphasis on identifying and developing those talented young athletes as Olympic medal winners in 6 to 8 years through the talent identification and confirming program and playing to win a new era for sport. There are two programs worthy of learning from British cycling. The first is the Female Girl for Gold program. The second is the Fast Track program. On the other hand, British Taekwondo launched the Fighting Chance campaign in 2009 and Battle for Brazil in 2012 to better prepare for the 2016 Rio Olympics in Brazil. British Taekwondo also employed a holistic development GB Taekwondo player development framework to nurture junior athletes' personal growth with their parents, to equip them for a long-term elite development journey. This framework is very functional in the elite athletic development programs and can better promote the elite athletes' psychological growth and life skill in the future. Hong Kong SI has established the Talent Identification and Development Unit. Its functions and strategy have not been fully developed to nurture talented young athletes regarding its quality and quantity in elite sport. Hong Kong SI is expected to strengthen the talent identification and development by formulating a mid to long-term strategy through consultancy study, referring to the literature and successful international practices. Moreover, talent transfer from Fast Track program in the context of Great Britain can be referred. The third recommendation is alignment between financial support and medal winning capabilities. The National Lottery funding has been the major funder to all sport at the elite level in UK. The No Compromise funding to British cycling increased by 17.5% and 17.4% in the London and Rio Olympics respectively, and reached £30 million in 2016. The World Class Performance Program provides an additional £2 million to support international cycling competitions between 2007 and 2013. When British Taekwondo won the bronze medal at Beijing Olympics, there was a significant increase in funds allocated to the British Taekwondo team to better prepare for the London 2012 and Rio 2016, according to the result contingent low compromise approach. This finance increase reflects the winning philosophy, drive for and commitment to medals, performance-based funding criteria, and management by objective. On the contrary, the no compromise funding strategy also demonstrates rudeness and uncompromising funding cut if medal drops below standard. The Hong Kong SI has identified 4 A-star sports, 16 A sports, and 13 B-tier sports. This 3-tier sport categorization scheme resonates with Great Britain's 3-level counterpart. They are podium, development, talent identification, and confirmation, on the basis of the likelihood of winning medals at the Olympic Games. Because of the expensive investment of Olympic medal winning, the number of priority sports deserve a more precise calculation and balance between the funding support and medal winning capabilities. The fourth one is national identity formulation. UK sport policy has provided us with an example that the national identity is a fundamental basis to drive the elite sport policy forward within the government. As a result, the linkage between national identity and elite sport achievement becomes one of the major policies in the broader political and socio-cultural context of Hong Kong, within which sport, including elite sport, is fundamentally embedded. The fifth one, international representation and influence in international organizations and federations. Key positions in international federations are very important to individual elite sport development and performance. Cookson from Great Britain was elected as the president of the UCI in 2013. Since then, the inter-interests of British cycling can be represented and safeguarded when critical discussions and decisions related to British cycling. And to develop international influence and voices has been the important task of British cycling to provide advantage for the international team. The international influence and voice among international sport bodies, federations, can definitely make the extra 1% gain in elite sports and its results. Hong Kong should head for this direction if the region wants to win more medals in Olympic Games, Asian Games, and the World Championships. The conclusion, through the documentary analysis and interviews of UK and Hong Kong may be able to learn to improve our medal winning record. Based on the policy analysis and comparison through the 3 successful Olympic events, we have to consider the policy transferability because it depends on different conditions and constraints under different places. The findings do not represent the only way or approach to be successful in the elite sport arena because rules and regulations for Olympic sports have been changed constantly. The only thing we can assure is that the longer-term strategy is better for Hong Kong to prepare a better winning record and development in elite sports. At the end, I would like to thank the current study is supported by the Public Policy Research Funding Scheme under the Policy Innovation and Coordination Office, the government of the Hong Kong SAR. As I mentioned in the beginning, the original report is very lengthy. So if you want to understand more detail, the full report can be requested under the PPR, Policy Innovation and Coordination Office in Hong Kong government. Thank you for your attention and patience.